Safe. Be safe at home. Fast 15 years. Oh, is somebody there to keep you safe? SimplySafeColin.com. Free security camera. So, first of all, the Clippers are not losing because of the officials. Let's start there. DeMarcus Cousins butchered an intentional free throw miss the other night. Apparently, he doesn't know the rules. Kawhi Leonard's out. They're shooting 42% for the series. And frankly, typical Clippers, they've been bad in a couple of late fourth quarter situations. It's not the refs. Fans always want the refs to be perfect, and the free throw by DeMarcus Cousins, he apparently doesn't know the rules a decade into the NBA. It's not the refs. But we always understand, in baseball is a great example, umpires have different strike zones. There are literally odds makers move the lines based on who's the home plate umpire tonight. That's not cheating. That's the reality of some umpires call a bigger strike zone. I mean, they don't go from here to there, but a slightly bigger strike zone. There are pitchers. Kurt Schilling once told me, there were a handful of umpires. I was going to get the corners. And there were others I was not. So you know that over time. We know in the NFL, Herm Edwards has told me, there were crews that call holding. And all week, once you get the assignment, who's officiating the game, you sit down and go, fellas, you got to watch it because they'll call holding. Fans think that robots are apparently officiating game. We think in the NBA, we acknowledge in other sports, there are officials who call pass interference. And then there are officials, and this is what I would do if I was an official, let two athletes be great. You watch the way the Patriots coach their defensive backs. They're slapping you the entire way down the field. Bill teaches aggressive corner play, and most officials let you do that. But there are the occasional crews that will call PI. But in the NBA, we think all officials officiate the game the exact same. No, they don't. Some guys give out texts really quickly. Some guys like to, their egos become important. I'm going to set the tone early in this game, and they get teams into the bonus because they want to set the tone. Some are young officials. Some are older with confidence and a little ego. So in game 2, the officiating crew was different than game 4, right? So in game 2, the officiating crew calls for a replay on that out-of-bounds play, which infuriated almost all of you. You don't think that's reviewable. It should go to the offensive guy. In game 4, totally different crew comes in, and they don't go to the replay, and now everybody's upset with that. Well, it's a different crew. Is it possible that the game 4 crew watched the game 2 crew and said, guys, this is a mess. We don't want to be 35 minutes, the last 2 minutes of the games. On the out-of-bounds stuff, let's just go keep the pace moving. We'll replay stuff. We'll know we'll have to replay stuff. On the out-of-bounds stuff, do we really want to get ripped for 4 days on television? Let's just move past it. But in baseball, we totally understand umpiring crews have different personalities. Hockey, though I don't know it well, same thing. Football, absolutely that's the case. But in basketball, they're all robots. They all call it the exact same way. In my world, you wouldn't go to replay on this ever. You really wouldn't. But if you do, then you got to get it right. It's absurd to go to replay and then give it to the team that touched it last. I don't buy that argument. If you're going to go to replay on this, okay. It'd almost be like on the freeways, which I've never been a fan of. They have some places in America have cameras where you'll just get a ticket sent to your house. You went 12 miles an hour over last Wednesday. Americans don't like that. If you're going to give us a ticket, you got to pull us over and catch us in the act. You can't use technology. And that's been something for years and years that's gone on in America. And my takeaway is I don't like cameras on freeways. You going to get me? See me. But if you do have cameras on freeways and I'm 45 miles an hour over, I probably should pay the ticket, right? Like if I'm that fast. I don't like going to the replay on this play, ever. Just give it to the offensive guy. Let's go. If you don't, just go offense. And they didn't. But if you do, then you got to get the right answer because it's going to look stupid. If you're going to do certain things in life, then you at least get it right. So the idea that this was a different. I'm reading stories this morning. This cost the Clippers. The Clippers are losing this series because they don't have Kawhi. They're shooting 42% in the series. I frankly don't think this morning they're as good as Phoenix. They've had bad fourth quarters. This is who they are. And DeMarcus Cousins, I guess, doesn't know the rules of basketball. after a decade in the league. Joy with the news.
No.
Heard on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Do they still have red light cameras? Have you ever gotten a ticket for one of those?
No, what's that?
Oh, they had, a lot of places got rid of them, but for a while they had cameras at intersections, and if you ran a red light, they just sent you a ticket to your house.
Yeah, Americans don't like that.
Well, it was ridiculous because, there's a little bit of like, we got to keep traffic moving and we can't turn left, so we're already in the intersection, and like, you're in the middle of the intersection and the light is red. Like, what do? You just stay there until it turns green again? Like, you have to go through, and then they would get in tickets. It was crazy.
You got a ticket for that?
I never did, but I know lots of people that did, and they were not happy about it.
No, if you're going to get us. But you got to be there when it happens.
Yeah, I'm not encouraging running red lights, but like there's a little nuance to, did you run the red light or were you in the middle of the intersection when the light changed? Like, that's how traffic works.
I always find it funny with officials. I've said this before. You've been on the show and I've said this. The NBA is the hardest sport to officiate because in baseball, most people are static. They're just standing there.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's standing. There's a ball of the plate, not movement. In the NFL, outside of pass interference, there's a lot of guarantees, definitive, like you're offsides, you're lined up wrong. Essentially, the NBA, everything is pass interference. It's all subjective. Everybody's moving.
Yeah.
Nobody's standing. It's going, hockey similarly, like when stuff isn't stationary and people are flying by you and you got to call stuff, it is harder.
And it's fast, and it's intimate.
And it's vertical. Hockey players aren't jumping.
The viewing, like, pain that the officials have to look at with the fans right there, like the depth, or what are you looking at? There's so much going on.
It's a really hard sport.
And then you go to replay, and people want to go down. People want to, like, zoom in and, like.
And now we're complaining because on a common out-of-bounds play that we won't go to replay. Sometimes pace of traffic and pace of play matter.
Well, I do think the end of the game, because we've talked about this as well, the replay is for the end of the game. But I think more than just the replay in that situation, can we just all, or just the league, decide what that is? Like, we all know the person that touched it last, it's out on them. But there is a bit of, this is how the game is played. So what is the actual rule here?
See, the NFL, Joy, doesn't let you do that with holding calls. We all know there's a holding call on virtually every play in the NFL. But you can't review those. So the NFL's did a good job. Nope. Yes, the NBA may need to do, to your point is, okay, this out of bounds play, we're just not going to go to replay on that.
Well, yeah, because it's just how the game is played.
That's right. So if whatever the ref sees in that moment, that's what we'll go with. I think the NBA would be smart to just say, we're not going to replay this play. Whatever the ref sees. But there are things, NFL's done a really good job. They just give you a bunch of stuff we're not going to go to replay on.
Yeah. So the Blazers announced that they have hired Chauncey Billups as their next head coach. It is reportedly a 5-year deal that includes a team option in the 5th year. This is his first job as an NBA head coach. He spent this past season as an assistant with the Clippers.
Yeah.
He also played for 17 seasons and won a title with the Pistons in 2004 and was Finals MVP in 2004 as well. This was met with a little resistance from some of the fans in Portland because in with the decision makers in the situation.
Well, I've only met Chauncey once, but the people I know that know Chauncey love him. I'm actually surprised he hasn't been a coach yet because he's had opportunities, but I think he's done broadcasting. So Chauncey's always been, from the people that I trust that know the NBA, everybody loves Chauncey. I think I've only met him one time at the other place, but I can't speak to his past, but I can speak to the present, which is he's respected. He's super smart. I wrote about him in my first book I wrote. I said he was the ultimate NBA lubricator, that good players in the league can agitate locker rooms or lubricate them. Every locker room he went into, the team got better. And it wasn't like Shane Battier had this quality. If you put Shane Battier on a team, they were just better. It wasn't always because of Shane. It was He was great.
It's a Chris Paul kind of factor as
Great
well.
at practice.
Yeah.
People trusted him. Potential arguments, fights. He goes in, breaks it up. Chauncey's got that, like, it thing. You put him into rooms, everybody gets along better. I mean, I think he wasn't he on that Iverson Denver Nuggets team? I could be wrong on this, but it's like the one time, no, it was the Melo